The number one reason why we want fame so much is that in this day and age, deep inside, we feel extremely insignificant. Here is a little rule of thumb that you can apply to a person's psychological profile. The more insignificant a person feels on the inside, the more they will gravitate towards seeking fame on the outside. That's a very simple thing that you can check for yourself. We're growing up in a society where we feel extremely broken or damaged inside. Internally, we have this sensation of being wrong all the time. Therefore, we try to create an opposite situation in our lives externally. So we seek the proof that we are not wrong. We seek the proof that we are significant. Whereas indeed, deep inside, we feel as if something is wrong with us, as if we're not being normal, as if we are somehow broken or damaged. Another reason why we want fame so much is that we want to control how much love other people give us. For many of us, we have been through a certain amount of trauma where we felt as if we're not loved. And that created, or we created, if I want to be honest with you, we created this assumption that we're living by in this day and age. We are deeply convinced that in order for us to feel happy, we need to feel significant, because that will guarantee that we'll get the love. So if I'm famous, if people love me, that means I can create more love for myself. And by doing that, I will automatically satisfy my need of having that love, because humans are a social species and we thrive on love. We literally do. If I have found myself in a situation where I couldn't just get the love that I wanted, the love that I needed, and that's not a bad thing, by the way, don't use that as a derogatory term. We're not talking about narcissism, we're just talking about the natural condition for a healthy human to grow and thrive and flourish. We need love, we need attention from other people, we need care and we need support. Because when we're born, we are basically futile. We are powerless. We are completely dependent on other people to secure our survival. So we grow up having that assumption that we need to get that love from other people. And generally what happens is, at a certain point in our lives, we try to get the responsibility for doing that. And we feel as if fame is the quickest route to us having control over how much love other people give us. And if other people give us love, that supports and feeds the main need that we have as humans. That's really, really crucial to our survival. Here is an example from my personal life. When I was a child, I felt extremely insignificant and I felt very, very much unloved by the peers and the environment I found myself in. Within my family, I had a fantastic atmosphere. I would have to say I was one of those lucky people who were lucky enough to be born into a family where everyone was very supportive. And my parents used to tell me that I was the very best child in the world. They were supporting my feeling of self-worth and self-love. But when I found myself in a kindergarten, when I found myself back at school, I ran into peers and I ran into teachers who were very far from creating that experience internally within kids, within myself and within my peers. So I found myself in an extremely competitive environment and I just couldn't get through it, right? I just felt so insignificant. I felt as if all of my talents or all of my gifts or personal things that I thought I had back at that time, that my parents reiterated all the time, I felt as if none of those mattered. None, literally. I felt as if I had to match some other criteria in order to survive in that particular social group that I found myself in. And it was a very, very difficult experience for me to get through. So I had no idea how to do it. As a result, I finished school feeling extremely insignificant, extremely worthless. So I kept seeking fame in my life, and I think, I'm being completely honest with you guys, that same reason of seeking fame led me into a YouTube career, being a YouTube teacher. However, with time, I started working on my psychology. I got an understanding and mastered my emotions, my internal world, and I got my enlightenment experience. And then I felt as if my career was turning into a different direction, which is something that makes me healthier and happier in terms of my psychological well-being. However, I do deeply believe that significance and love and the internal assumptions, bottom core assumptions such as insignificance and lack of love, is something that is feeding fame and our desire to be famous. Another important thing to understand about fame is that fame is a fantastic survival tool. Once we add it to our survival toolkit, we feel that we're more capable of surviving in our society. The world society on a global level still remains a very competitive society. We're quite a competitive mixture, aren't we? So we try to seek advantage over each other, and that is something that our education system has taught us to do via ranking. We do have quite a bit of rivalry happening in our society on all levels. And even though hierarchy can be very healthy, it's still unhealthy in the society that we're currently finding ourselves in. So we think that once we establish ourselves as being better than anyone else, be it in the limits of our own industry or in the world in general, then that will somehow guarantee our survival. So we try to reach that point when we feel successful, because success is very tightly linked with that experience of being famous. We're looking at a famous person and we're thinking, oh my God, that celebrity is getting so much significance, they're getting so much love. And that is something that we lack ourselves. And the more we lack that experience of significance and love in our own lives, because we feel damaged and broken on the inside, the more we will gravitate towards creating fame in our lives, even more than creating value for the world or anything. Think about your relationship with fame. Fame in and of itself, does it matter to you how famous you are? Does it matter to you how present or well known you are to the global community? What is meaning to you? What is value to you? What would happen to your life? What would happen to your sense of purpose if meaning was completely removed from the grand scheme of things? What would happen to your life in general if the notion of value were erased from the great scheme of things? What would you want to do then? Think about it. Isn't meaning just something that we assign randomly? Thanks for staying with me. Don't forget to give me that like and subscribe to my channel for more healthy insights on teaching and well-being. That was Lilia, and I will see you very soon.